The baby's first cry split the air like a knife through wet canvas. Clara May gritted her teeth, her fingers clenching the bloodied blanket beneath her. Her face glistened with sweat, eyes wild as the midwife lifted the second child from between her legs. 2 cries now, echoing inside the one-room shack, small, shrill, and full of life. "No," Earl Mathis muttered. He stood near the hearth, fists clenched, hat shadowing his face. Smoke rose behind him in thin curls, the pot of stew long forgotten. His boots were caked in dust, but it was the mud on his hands that told the real story. The midwife, old Miss Starnes, wrapped the second girl in a faded cotton cloth. "Twins, Earl. 2 girls, strong as oxen. The Lord seen fit to." Earl turned, slow, deliberate. "The Lord don't send 2 girls at once unless he's fixin' to punish a man." Clara's voice cracked, barely more than a whisper. "Please hold them. Just look." He stepped forward. The floorboards groaned. His shadow fell over the cradle. The first baby reached upward, tiny fingers grasping at nothing. He stared, unmoving. Then his jaw tightened. "They scream like crows. Just like you." "Earl." Miss Starnes backed away, placing herself between him and the cradle. "You ain't thinking straight." "I warned her," he said, eyes burning now, voice shaking with something that wasn't sorrow. "Told her no devil-born tricks. Told her what would happen if something unnatural came out of her." Clara tried to sit up, but her body failed her. She coughed, a red stain blooming on the sheet. Earl moved, a blur of rage and boot leather. Miss Starnes screamed as he shoved her aside. One hand wrapped around Clara's throat. She gasped, flailed, her fingers clutching at his arm. "Earl, no," she choked. "The babies." The cradle tipped in the struggle, wood scraping loud against the floorboards. Then silence, only the hiss of fire and the babies crying. Miss Starnes backed against the wall, hand over her mouth, too stunned to move. Clara May's hand slipped from Earl's arm, hung limp. He let go, stepped back, breathing heavy. The newborns wailed louder now, as if they knew. Earl stared at them like they were something foul, born from dust and death. Then, without a word, he turned, kicked open the door, and vanished into the light of the setting sun. Outside, the canyon winds howled. Inside, the cradle rocked. Miss Starnes dropped to her knees beside Clara's still form, weeping. She looked down at the twins, identical, perfect, their tiny fists trembling in the cool air. She gathered them both in her arms and whispered, "God help you girls." Behind her, the stew boiled dry, the house filled with smoke. And somewhere, far off, a coyote began to howl. The anvil rang sharp beneath June's hammer, sparks flaring like fireflies in the forge's dusk. "Again," she said, voice low. The boy winced, but lifted the horseshoe with his tongs. Sweat poured down his temples. June took it, turned it, and struck, once, twice, each blow clean, each movement sharp as a blade. Outside, boots shuffled in the dust. The shop door creaked. June didn't look up. "We're closed." The voice that answered rasped like wind over gravestones. "Ain't here for shoes, girl." She froze, the hammer still midair. Slowly, June turned. Reese Callahan leaned in the doorway, his coat dust-caked, left arm in a sling. His eyes were worn flat, like bullets that never missed. A war medal clinked faintly on his chest as he stepped inside. "They're back," he said. "Rode in through Devil's Spine this morning. 7 men. Hollow sons. Him at the front." The hammer dropped. June's heart beat once hard. "You saw his face." "Didn't need to," Reese said. "Saw the brand on the horse. Skull inside a sunburst. Same as the rumors." She wiped her hands, breathing through her nose. The fire roared behind her, casting flickers on the walls, like shadows reaching for something they couldn't touch. "He's not here for land," Reese added. "He's here to finish what he started." June turned away, reaching for the leather satchel under the counter. Inside, the silver locket clicked open. Half a map, curled like a snake, lay inside. The paper smelled like ash. She hadn't opened it in years. "Town won't stand a siege," Reese said quietly. "Not with half our men chasing rail money and sheriff drunk by noon." "I ain't asking the town. You gonna fight him alone?" June's eyes flashed. I ain't alone. Reese studied her. The other one? June nodded once. Does she even know? She will. The wind outside kicked up dust, rattling the shutters. A dog barked down the street. Far off, the church bell rang, though it wasn't Sunday. Reese shifted his weight. You got his fire. Your mama did too. June looked past him, toward the road, toward the red hills beyond. He tried a bird out of her. He'll learn he didn't finish the job. Reese turned to go, pausing just before the door. We'll hold as long as we can. But don't wait too long, June. The hollow suns leave nothing but graves. She didn't answer. As the door shut behind him, she reached for the locket again. The metal burned cold against her thumb. Somewhere past those hills, the rest of the map waited. And so did the other girl. The one who vanished. The one who didn't get to stay. The arrow thudded into the wood beside June's head, quivering. She didn't flinch, just raise her hand slow. I ain't here to steal, she said, eyes scanning the red rocks around her. Ain't here to fight, neither. Silence. The canyon walls baked under the afternoon sun. Somewhere above, a hawk cried once, then faded into the wind. I got half a map, June said. The other half led me here. Another arrow clattered at her feet. Then a voice, quiet, sharp as flint. Turn around. Leave that map in the dirt. You don't belong here. June turned slowly. Her breath caught. The woman standing on the ridge above her wore buckskin and war paint, a rifle slung across her shoulder and a scar slicing down her left cheek. She looked like a spirit from some ghost legend, except for one thing. She looked exactly like June. The woman moved closer, rifle still raised. Her boots didn't stir a pebble. Her face was a mirror, aged by sun and rage. You're her, June said. Willa. Willa didn't blink. Who told you that name? June stepped forward. Your sister. Willa hesitated. Her eyes dropped to the silver locket June pulled from her pocket. Opened, showing the curled map half inside. Willa reached in her own vest, pulled out the other half. Unfolded it. Two halves of the same curse. Where'd you get it? She asked. Miss Starnes kept it, June said. Said it was yours. Mama's before that. Willa didn't speak for a long moment. Then quietly, he's still alive, isn't he? He's coming, June said. With a gang. Calls them the Hollow Suns. Willa's jaw tightened. June looked at her. You remember what he did? I remember the heat of the brand, Willa said. The way he didn't look back. She pulled her rifle off her shoulder. I tracked him once. Years ago. Couldn't pull the trigger. Thought it would bring peace if I forgot. You still want peace? Willa met her eyes. I want fire. They camped that night beneath the stone arches, the moonlight spilling silver over the canyon floor. June watched Willa clean the rifle with ritual-like care. Why didn't you come back? She asked. Willa didn't look up. Would have brought fire with me. Figured she. The woman who raised you deserved better. She did, June said, but she always left the second plate on the table. A long pause. Then Willa stood. We ride at first light. Toward Whiptail Ridge. Toward the father who buried one daughter in silence and left the other screaming in the sand. This time, both were coming. And they weren't children anymore. The town clock struck noon. 6 riders lined the main road, dust curling at their boots, rifles across their backs, faces veiled in black cloth. Earl Mathis sat at the front, upright in his saddle, his long coat flapping like a preacher's robe in the wind. Bring me the girl, he called out, voice cold as bone. Shutters snapped shut. Children vanished from porches. The only sound was the rustle of the wind through dry grass and the low creak of the saloon's swinging doors. June stepped out. Her black duster caught the breeze. Her hat shadowed her eyes. The silver locket hung around her neck, resting over her heart. One hand rested on the grip of her mother's old revolver. Earl's eyes narrowed. You look like her. June didn't blink. Good. She's the one who taught me how to shoot. He snorted. You ain't got her softness. No, she said. She died with that. Behind her, the rooftop above the general store shifted, the barest scrape of boot against tin. Willa was in position. Earl raised a hand. Last chance. Hand over the map, or I'll burn this town the way I should have done 20 years ago. June stepped forward. You can try. His hand twitched. A crack split the air. One of the hollow sons slumped in his saddle, a hole through his eye. Willa's rifle sang again. A second rider hit the dirt. Then everything exploded. Gunfire ripped down the street. Townsfolk scattered. Earl's men fanned out, shooting wild. June moved fast, ducking behind the watering trough, returning fire. One shot, a man dropped. Another, a scream, a spur spinning loose into the dust. Smoke filled the air. June broke cover, sprinting forward. Her gun emptied. She reloaded on the move. A bullet tore past her cheek. She rolled behind a barrel and came up shooting. Willa picked them off from above, calm, deadly, silent as dusk. Only Earl remained. He dismounted slow, as if unbothered, and walked forward through the bodies of his dead men. "You ain't her," he said, drawing his pistol. "You're me. Same blood. Same fire." June faced him in the middle of the street. "That why you killed her? Saw yourself and couldn't stand it." He sneered. She was weak. June's hand hovered over her holster. "Then call this justice." He drew. So did she. One shot. Hers found home. Earl staggered, dropped to his knees, eyes wide. The pistol slipped from his hand. He looked up, blood in his teeth. "You shouldn't have been born." June stepped closer, raised her revolver again. "Mama said the same about you." She pulled the trigger. Silence fell over Whiptail Ridge. The wind shifted. Later, they buried Earl under the black mesquite tree beside Clara May. No name, no marker. The twins stood side by side, shadows stretching long behind them. And somewhere, an old voice spoke by firelight.